would like to ask you a question. Are you tired of being told you have anger issues? Do you feel out of control at times? What would it be like to always have the right tone of voice and always feel calm and collected? Sometimes the stress of life just seems to make keeping a cool head impossible. Sometimes the situation is over the top and we snap. Would you like to keep your power instead of yelling it away? Keep your cool in 7 easy steps will help you do just that. And I'm Yvonne Sinclair. I'm a licensed marriage family therapist in California, and I'm a certified anger management specialist with the Anger Management Association. For 22 years, I have been teaching and counseling clients about anger management. These anger management methods are time-tested and effective. You will learn to identify anger feelings early and dissipate them before they are overwhelming. You can find out how to communicate so you feel heard and increase the ability to get your needs met. We will explore how your family of origin patterns, self-talk, and triggers sabotage your control. Keep your power. Stay cool. 7 quick and easy steps to be in control. You can do it. When you are finished with this class, I promise you will be able to stay more calm and collected in any situation. If your anger issues are not better after this class, you may return the class within 30 days for a full refund. Join the thousands of people who have used this method to keep their cool and communicate their needs and wishes more effectively. Come with me and see how. See you in the steps. Step right in. Good to see you here. This is our first step in 7 steps to keep your cool. And in this first lesson, I would like to talk about anger, anger expression, and anger management. When we manage it by stuffing it or holding it in, this form of management is like blowing air into a balloon, a little bit at a time. Each time you're frustrated or angry or mad, irritated or annoyed, you stuff it in with a little air. I'm fine. I'm okay. And with each breath into the balloon, we may tell ourselves, I've got it. I'm okay. And finally, the balloon will burst, just as you may explode with anger or rage. Suddenly, you may be expressing anger in a way that hurts others and gets you into trouble. The anger comes out of somewhere, even when we think we're controlling it. It may express itself with physical sickness or emotional pain. Anger is a response to what life brings or what happens around us. Everyone has reasons to be angry from time to time. There are many injustices in the world, and sometimes anger is justified. Our angry feelings are a red flag that we perceive an event as not fair or not right for us. The anger is not what gets us into trouble. What causes problems is the destructive response to our anger. What we do with anger and how we express our anger determine if the outcome is positive or negative. The best predictor to a positive outcome is your willingness to take an honest look at the consequences to your anger expression and to examine your process of how you express this negative emotion. Is anger bad? Anger feels bad. Anger can raise your stress and negatively affect your health, especially when you manage your anger by keeping it to yourself. When you stuff your angry feelings, you are not managing them. This form of anger management can jeopardize your health and well-being. So changing the way of expressing anger may take some time. You've expressed it in the same way pretty much all of your life, I'm expecting. It can be a process of evolution. Each day, you can be a little more aware of your feelings and express them in a more sensitive, effective manner. The way we express our anger is learned in our family of origin, where we grew up. Do we stuff it? Do we explode, slam doors, or do we use our words? These methods were learned from the people who modeled anger expression for us when we were growing up. And guess what? Now as adults, we're making anger expression and modeling it for another generation. We're showing our children how to express anger. We're showing them either in a healthy way or an unhealthy way. We can change our child's anger management by changing our own way of expressing anger. Take a little time to explore the changes you wish to acquire through these classes. How would you like to change this learned behavior for yourself? Sometimes we avoid expressing our anger because we need to feel that we're taking care of others. We stuff our anger or avoid open, honest communication because we feel it will upset the other person. This behavior is called codependent behavior, and it's not healthy. Not healthy for yourself, not for others, and not for your relationship. Anger finds a way to come out somewhere. It may manifest itself in physical illness. It may come out all at once in a rage or angry explosion. Anger will find a way to express itself somewhere. It can be healthy or unhealthy. You are the one to choose. You can use our anger energy for positive response. We can notice our anger early and express in a healthy way. This anger management allows our body to be clear, and then anger does not have a negative effect on our health. Anger is not bad. It tells us something is happening that is not good for us. It's our barometer. We can learn to use this energy to keep ourselves safe or resolve what is not right with our world. Learning to express anger in a way that will be positive for your relationship and others around you, and learning to make healthy choices about anger expression is beneficial. It will not only be good for you, but will also protect the people around you. If we stuff anger, others may sense something is wrong, and this may set us up to be avoided or misunderstood. The other people around us only have their imagination to decide why we are upset. Sometimes anger expression is avoided for other reasons. Some examples include like fear of losing control, fear of hurting or offending another person, fear that we will be disliked or rejected, and fear our partner will no longer love us. Some of the facts about anger are that it's not a bad emotion. Anger is a normal emotion. Angry feelings just are. Everyone feels angry at one time or another. Anger can be controlled. It is easier to control the anger when it's early. You can learn ways to control your anger, and that's what we will do in these classes. In the second section of the first step, I'd like to talk a little bit about what anger is like. Everybody feels angry at one time or another. Anger can be controlled easier when it's early in the early stages, and you can learn ways to control your anger. Ignoring your anger is like blowing it into a balloon, and the angry feeling builds and builds until it explodes. Even after you're angry, you can control your anger, and you can learn to calm down and learn to avoid anger triggers for yourself. When your partner is angry, you may feel uncomfortable. You may feel afraid if in your family of origin, anger meant violence followed. Your partner's anger belongs to your partner. Remember, you are not in charge of making it okay. You may have learned that you have to fix it. It is not in your basket of issues, which we will talk about when we talk about family of origin. You can care and you can be there for them, but it is not under your control. And as a partner, you will want to be there for them, allow them to express, and if anger is about your relationship, communicate about resolution. As they grow up, people are sometimes given the message that they are responsible for everything going well. He or she is responsible for making sure all works well. People are sometimes given the message they're responsible for everything running smoothly. The kids, the car, the yard, the house, the finances, everything. And the relationship too. This is an impossible job for one person, and if you were given that message, male or female, and feel the need to fix everything, your partner's anger may be especially troubling for you if you can't fix it. If you gotta fix it, then you will not want to hear about anything you cannot fix. This prevents you from being able to just be there for your partner or a friend if he or she is upset and just needs to talk. I would like to suggest you change your personal message to a realistic message. Instead of thinking, I gotta fix it, and I know this is bad English, I like it anyway. You say, I don't gotta fix anything. One person cannot and should not be in charge of making everything right for anyone else. So when you go to the I gotta fix it place, you say, I don't gotta fix anything. This will help you be there for your partner when they express anger. It allows them to express without needing to fix the situation for them. Even if the anger is about your relationship, you don't gotta fix it. You only have to be there for the communication and about finding a resolution. Webster defines anger as a feeling of displeasure resulting from injury, mistreatment, opposition, and usually showing itself in a desire to fight back at the supposed cause of the feeling. Now, shame feelings can play a part in our anger expression. Shame can be understood as a sense of being unacceptable, small, or defective, a feeling that we are not okay in some way. If the shame is deep and long-standing, then it can be excessive. It may never go away, no matter what is done. It can begin in our family of origin, and we may come to the place of giving up in despair because we feel as though we can never live up to another's expectations. This kind of shame may get too painful to endure, and we may find a way to cover it up or distract ourselves from the pain, and you guessed it. One way we can do that is turning the shame feelings into anger. This helps us feel bigger, and it's a band-aid to the big injury, however. Shame is not a feeling of guilt. Guilt feelings come when we feel we have done something wrong. Shame feelings tell us we are wrong. Notice I say it tells us, doesn't say we are for real. When we express our angry feelings in a rage, we push people away. We're saying, don't come close to me. And sometimes this is because we feel desperate to keep others away so they cannot destroy us emotionally. If we're dealing with shame from the messages we were given growing up, our anger response may be based on those feelings. Most of the time, rage happens as a surprise, even to the angry person. This is like the bursting of a balloon. The enraged person may be defending him or herself against overwhelming shame that can be debilitating to them and to their self-esteem. Anger can be a cover-up for other feelings. It may cover sadness. And for men, being angry is socially acceptable, whereas crying is not. And for women, crying is socially acceptable, whereas anger is not. So men turn the sadness into anger, and women turn the anger into sadness. Noticing our feelings and being honest about them will help us determine what our appropriate process for anger is. Anger is not a clear-cut subject, as you can guess after this. Just as each person is complicated and unique, his or her way of expressing anger is also complicated and unique. The good news is, changing behavior is not usually complicated. Changing the way you express your anger will take slowing down and paying attention, just like learning a new dance step or learning to ride a bike. At first, it's not easy and it's not automatic. At first, you have to pay attention to the changes you're working to implement. Where are the pedals? Where do I put my feet? Changing behavior is not impossible. Understanding our complicated, unique selves will assist us in working the old learned behaviors and adapting them into healthy ones. This class is designed to step you through the process of change. All you need to do is follow the steps and allow the change. Not expressing your anger is actually unhealthy. This class is designed to assist you in learning healthy expression of anger. And you can learn to express your anger in a manner that does not get you into trouble. Relax and enjoy the evolution of the new you. See you in the next step. Step into the second step. Glad to see you here. We're on our way. In this step, we will explore how to notice our feelings so that we can then express them later. So feelings just are. They're not good and bad. They only feel good or bad. They're like the weather. They're always there. Sometimes it's calm and we don't notice it. Sometimes it's a hurricane and there's no getting around it. The way we express our anger was learned when we were growing up. Therefore, our anger expression is a learned behavior and can be unlearned. The way we manage our anger can have an effect on our physical health. We talked about that in the first step. Uncontrolled anger can lead to domestic violence. Anger can be a cover-up for another emotion. And we are unique and complicated beings, but changing our behavior is not complicated. Changing takes paying attention and slowing down. We are in charge of our behavior, anger expression, and destiny. Before you can begin to manage your anger, you will need to recognize that you're feeling annoyed, irritated, upset, frustrated, mad, or angry. Noticing when these feelings begin and before they've reached a boiling point is the first step to control them. When you notice the first sign of negative feelings, you can choose to manage those feelings. If you wait until they're boiling over and out of control, then your choices are fewer. The first step to anger management is becoming aware of your feelings. There's a cheat sheet for you to print out in the lessons. One exercise that will help you get in touch with your feelings is to check in with yourself. Every hour or so, ask yourself, what am I feeling now? And if you're not in touch with your feelings, you may need the cheat sheet to give you a kickstart into what do I feel? Remember that feelings are always there. They're like the weather. They're always present. Sometimes they're calm and we don't notice them. Other times they're like thunderstorm and not to be missed. Feelings are like your barometer to the world around you. They tell you if you do or do not like what is happening. They can make you aware if something is good or bad for you. Feelings just are. They're not good or bad. For a week, keep track of each time that you are frustrated, angry, mad, annoyed, or irritated. Check in with yourself every now and then and see if you have small negative feelings starting. This practice will help you become aware of these negative feelings early so that you can express them in a positive manner. One way to keep track of these negative emotions is to keep beans or toothpicks, something small, in your pocket. And each time that you notice that you're frustrated, angry, you transfer one of them to another pocket. You can actually keep track of the number or the total count, but the point is not the amount, but the exercise itself and noticing the feelings. There's no good or bad amount. Again, these feelings just are. The good part is the noticing. Noticing your negative feelings will give you the awareness necessary to express them. If you ignore your feelings, the chances of the pressure building is good. The exercise will get you ready for lesson 3. Now, this is a little bit of a mind twister. As a parent, you want your child to succeed. And you trained yourself, almost everyone has, to say, these are the standards you must live up to. And when you live up to these standards, then I will be proud of you and I'll feel good. When you live up to my standards, I'll feel good. Think about what that means. Not just for the child in terms of how they feel, but think about what it does to you. You have turned your well-being over to someone else's behavior. Now your happiness is dependent on what someone else does or doesn't do. This could also apply to friends and partners. If you make your feelings dependent on their behavior, then you're giving them the power to determine how you feel. Is that what you want? Do you want someone else to control your feelings, your life, your destiny? If not, then take back your power. Be the one in control of your own feelings. No one else can make you mad. Don't give them that power. You choose how to respond. Allow feelings. Someone else can know the buttons to push that lead to angry feelings for you. You are the one who chooses to express your anger. You are the one who chooses to feel a certain way. The world, friends, children, spouses, traffic, coworkers, weather, or the dog snoring cannot make you angry. You can allow yourself to become angry over these things, or you can express when the irritation begins and choose appropriate anger expression. Remember, you are responsible for your anger. Finding someone else at fault for your anger and your anger expression will not only sabotage your ability to change behaviors, but it will also give them the power over your expression of feelings. Take responsibility for your own behaviors and choices. Take back your power. As you're noticing your negative feelings, keep a little chart each day. Keep the numbers. Only the person being angry can allow himself to be angry. Your behavior is under your control only. Don't give another person control of your behavior. Accountability is the most important part of change in this. Step into this class. We're ready for a new lesson. And in this lesson, we're going to begin expressing a little sound and feeling about those feelings, the upset, the anger, the irritation that we noticed this last lesson. How did that go? Were you a little surprised at how many times you felt irritated or mad? Or were you surprised at how few times? Sometimes just a reality check. Well, it's a good thing. So now we're going to talk about every time that you have one of those feelings, just a word or a statement or even a breath can dissipate the feelings and allow you to remain cool and keep your power. If you go off on somebody, then you're losing your power. Each time you notice a feeling of anger or frustration, annoyance, express yourself out loud in some way. You can simply sigh. You can get in your car and scream or use your words. I hate this. Some sound must come from you to dissipate the negative energy. Now, in the workplace, you can maybe use the restroom, or even if you're sitting next to your boss, you might just go to express that something's not right for you. You can give yourself a personal expression code that will tell your body you're letting off steam. This could be a word or a sigh or just a certain kind of breath. Be creative and learn to let it out instead of stuffing it in. Scientists formally believe that ventilation of anger would help it to reduce or dissipate. So when we go over it and talk about it, it was supposed to help. New research shows that for many people, ventilation of anger can increase the level of the anger. You rehearse and review the situation and refresh that anger for yourself. So every situation that precipitates anger presents you with a choice. You can blame others for what's happened, or you can use coping skills to reduce your anger and assert your needs in a healthy manner, non-blaming way. Again, voicing that you're upset early instead of letting it brew inside will facilitate expressing assertively. This can leave us with a dilemma. Do we vent or stuff? Actually, neither one is beneficial to your health and well-being. Talking over a difficult situation or upsetting time with a friend or a spouse will help you if you include your part of the dance. Talk about your responses and your feelings. Venting just fuels the anger again, and it will increase your ability to become uncomfortable the next time. Using your words in an appropriate manner takes more power and concentration than just exploding. So keep your power. This course is intended to give you more tools to stay cool and keep your power. Once you get good at expressing something every time you're frustrated or angry or upset, and it starts to become normal for you or easy, it's a pattern, and it's comfortable, then what I'd like you to do is step over to lesson 4, and I'll see you there. Good to see you here. In this lesson, I'd like to talk about the communication guide, the one that you can print out. It's a guide that I've developed. It's very simple, and yet it's very hard because it changes the way you've communicated all of your life. It helps you talk so your finger doesn't come out. It also helps with tone of voice because it's I statements. It helps the other person hear what it is you want them to hear. The person listening actually repeats back to you what I hear you say is, or what I hear you feel. This is called reflective listening. And you state back just what you heard or the emotion that you heard. Keep it short. Then if it's not what the speaker meant the listener to hear, speaker will say, no, that's not what I intended you to hear, and repeat the statement, perhaps in a different way, or using different tone or words or some other way to help the person listening understand. The format, the first person is person A, the speaker, and you fill in the blanks, and it's when, and then the blank is filled in with an event. When this happens, I feel, and then the blank is an emotional feeling. And you have an emotional cheat sheet because some people have trouble getting in touch with their feelings. They're not sure what they're feeling. So the emotional cheat sheet will help you get started. Sometimes you can have more than one emotion, and there's a ton more emotions than are on the sheet. So don't feel bad if you don't find one that you're feeling. Just say what you're feeling. And then the third line is because. This identifies for you, why am I feeling this way? So you fill in the blank with a statement, because. And then the last one is, and I want, which will then identify your needs for yourself. Keep it short and to the point. This identifies what feelings are coming up when something happens, why the feelings come up, and your needs. Now the second person, person A or the listener, says, what I hear you say is, and then they fill in the blank. We talk and listen through our life filters. When one person says something and intends to be heard, may be totally different than what the receiver or the listener hears. The reflective listening confirms that the message was heard in a way that the speaker intended. So we will practice this, and I want you to practice it 5 or 10 minutes a day so that you get the rhythm going. So that you can say, when you come home and yell first thing through the door, I get angry because I've had a bad day too. And I want you to come in and share with me if you like, but don't make me the bad guy. And I want to be heard. Then the listener would say, oh, what I hear you say is, I'm just a pile of crap. And you can say, no, that's not what I intended you to hear. Let me say it again. When you come through the door yelling, I get angry because I've had a bad day too. And I want you to think about how you're acting and who you're making the bad guy. Then perhaps the reflective listening could be, what I hear you say is that I need to take a deep breath before I come through the door and share with you, but not yell at you. And so you can get some issues resolved, but mostly this is to get a rhythm going and change the way you're communicating. You slow down and you pay attention and you change that pattern of how you've communicated all your life. And this will help you to then step into the resolution or the fair fighting part. And so now I'd like to invite you to the next lesson where I'm going to give you some communication homework. I know you're going to love that. See you there. Good to see you here. Let's talk about life filters. This may be a new term for you. It was for me when I first heard it. When we listen and talk through our life filters, we may hear things differently than the speaker intends us to hear them. Life filters are ways we learn to speak, listen, express anger, and communicate in our family of origin or where we grew up. Here's a little story intended to help you understand life filters. It's my story, so hang in here with me. John grew up in Sweden. When he graduated from college, he moved to New York to work. Now, he lived there about 6 months before he became really, really homesick. And one morning, he's riding the subway to work when a blonde woman got on the same car. He was struck with the beauty of her blondness, and it increased his homesickness. Oh, he missed Sweden and all the Sweden blondes. As they stepped off the car, they were standing next to each other, and John turned to Kate and said, "You have beautiful hair." Now, Kate grew up in the Bronx, and when someone mentioned her hair, it was to indicate they thought she was an airhand blonde person. Kate could have given John the wicked eye and stomped off to work, tossing her beautiful hair to tell her coworkers about the jerk she met on the subway. That would have really caused John to miss home even more. And he would have told his coworkers about the beautiful woman that he complimented on the way to work, and she blew him off. But this is my story, so here is how it goes. Kate turned to John and said, now this is reflective listening. Just a clue for you later. What, you think I'm an airhead? And John was a little shocked and said, no, I think your hair is beautiful. It makes me lonely for my home, Sweden. Well, Kate and John had lunch and got married, lived happily ever after. Yeah, I know. But this is so much between lunch and happily ever after. It would be like a story that goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a man with a pile of sticks. He built a house. It was a good house. There's a lot of work between the pile of sticks and the house, just like there is a lot of work and paying attention between John and Kate's lunch and their happily ever after. Relationships take time, energy, feeding, and nurturing. They are living, breathing entities. You can have wonderful, just okay, nothingness, or abusive relationships. You choose. This class gives you the tools to build a strong, healthy, growing relationship and teaches you to enhance that relationship. If you put the tools in the toolbox and leave them there, nothing changes. It's totally up to you. One word of reality check. Relationships take two. Two people working toward the same goal. The format in this communication class will help you to talk to someone else without your finger wagging at him or her. It will help you identify your feelings when certain events happen. It will help you identify your needs and wishes. And therefore, this new form of communication is more for you than it is for the other person. The second part of the format will teach reflective listening. Now, this was a new term for me. Perhaps it's a new term for you too. This will slow you down so you are actually listening to the speaker instead of thinking as soon as they take a break, I'm saying this. And what they've said clears for flyby. It will then allow you to tell the speaker if you've heard the statement in the way that they intended you to hear. For example, you say, could you help me with the yard this weekend? Your significant other hears, you never do anything. Reflective listening means the significant other would say, what? What I hear you say is, I'm lazy. And then you will clarify, no, that's not what I wanted you to hear. I just wanted to be sure that we were both available for yard work this weekend. Our life filters help or hinder our communication. As with John and Kate, we may hear something totally different than the speaker intended. The speaker's not wrong. The listener's not wrong. And in the next lesson, we will explore that communication guide I've been talking about. You may want to copy the guide out so that you can write on it, and then keep a clean one, and you can make other copies from that. Let's go have a look at the new way to talk and listen. Step right into this lesson. In this one, we're going to get physical. Anger is thought to be the #1 cause for divorce. I'm not surprised, are you? The Department of Health and Human Services reports that domestic fights turn violent when anger is not controlled. This accounts for more visits to the emergency room than auto accidents, muggings, rapes combined. The American Heart Association in '96 reported that people who chronically lose their temper have a higher risk of developing serious cardiac disease and other diseases. So, a self-soothing plan. In this lesson, we're going to get physical. We're going to try some new ideas and decide which ones work best for you. Some of the ideas to consider are going to be deep breathing, where you take a deep breath, and you're going to do this 3 times. In through your nose, out through your mouth, and breathe out like you were blowing out a candle. All the way out. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And then there's the 4x4x4. And those of you who are physical out in nature will like that one. 4x4x4. I know I've got an extra 4, but I'll explain. So you breathe into the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you hold it to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you count to 4 as you let it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it kind of goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can do that several times. If you have to concentrate on it, that's even better, because it gives you something else to do than going off. Jogging or walking around the block, take a brisk walk. Use the treadmill. During this time, practice some positive self-talk, some basketball, go shoot some hoops. During this time, practice some positive self-talk. Count slowly. Start at 10, count to 1, slowly to 10. Do it very slowly, and as you're doing it, positive self-talk. Rip up newspaper, scrunch it in a bowl, and throw it in a basket or throw it in a paper bag. Give it your all. Repeat this until you feel better. Think of throwing your anger into the paper bag along with the newspaper. Any kind of muscle work helps. Just clenching your jaw to the count of 12 and loosening it. Clench it again and then loosen it. Do it 12 times in a row. This will help relax you. You can do the same thing with your neck muscles. Scrunch them up. And the same thing with your arms and your back and your legs. You can sit at your desk and scrunch up your feet or your calves. The progressive relaxation, where you start with your facial muscles at the top of your head, if you can tighten those, and count to 10 and just go all the way down your body. Scrunch it and count to 10 and scrunch it, count to 10, all the way down. Pretty soon, you're all relaxed. Again, you're paying attention to the scrunching and the relaxation, and it takes your mind off some of the things that were bothering you. Count to 10, tighten up and relax. Do it to your whole body. So you can also get a massage therapist to give you some ideas on how to do the relaxing. Personal time out. I think I need a time out. I think I'm going to walk to the water, get a drink. You can relax as you're going. You can talk about your self-talk. Physical activity will help you lower your stress level and reduce that feeling of anger. During the physical activity, what you tell yourself is an important part of reducing the anger. And I know I'm going self-talk, but it is important. Notice what you're telling yourself. Is it escalating your anger, or is it helping to dissipate it? Maybe you need a reality check. You may need to stop and say, okay, what did I just tell myself? Oh, yeah, I think that was good. Or, oh, I think I need to change that. High expectations can be a factor that lead to displaced anger. Are your expectations realistic? Where do your expectations come from? Doing something calm to calm your angry feelings before they build to an explosion is a healthy way to manage your anger. So find out what calms you, what feels calm. Using words and sounds might help. Even sing along. You could just sing along. Repeat your favorite poem. Pay attention to your self-talk and keep it positive. Learn the triggers and implement a positive action plan. Listen to your body. This is the physical part. Have the ability to hear your body talk to you. You need to be aware of what's happening within your body. So slow down and pay. If you're all tensed up, you got a backache. What is that about? You must be aware of what your body is feeling. Tension is the initial stage in anger arousal. When we feel stressed out, we are more likely to resort to minor annoyance as though it was a catastrophe. Systematically relax your muscles. That will help you release the tension. Do each step at least once a day for a week. This will lower your stress level. See how it works for you. My guess is it will become a daily activity for you. Head, neck, shoulders, muscles, all important from an environmental point of view. Some quick break the tension exercises might be a little minute massage. This works best if you can get a massage therapist or a friend to help you with that. How about a walk to the water fountain? And on the way, you can think about what your self-talk was. Perhaps if you're getting into some kind of confrontation with a worker, a walk to the water fountain or a walk to the restroom will give you time to think about, how can I dissipate this disagreement in a positive way? How can I use my positive self-talk and my positive negotiation skills to make this turn out the way I want it to? Now that I have you paying attention to what you're feeling and dissipating with a sound or a word, I'm going to complicate matters. And I'm going to talk in this lesson about what you tell yourself, or your self-talk, the discussion inside your head. And it can be distorted thinking. And so if your discussion inside your head is an irrational belief or distorted thinking, it makes it worse. Anger comes as a two-step process. It can start with an upsetting situation and feelings of rejection, shame, or loss. And this leads to a need to discharge our painful feelings and feel good again. So the next part can actually increase our pain, depending on how we do it. If we let our self-talk increase our feelings of anger, then our pain will actually increase. Thoughts and angry feelings become a vicious cycle. So this process can keep the anger increasing for hours or days. Anger doesn't happen without a painful incident and negative self-talk. Now, I know the self-talk may sound kind of funny. In the olden days, when we walked down the street talking to ourselves, someone would go, mm-hmm. But now with the Bluetooth, people go walk down the street and talk to yourself, talk to someone, and it looks like they're talking to themselves. And I always think to myself, what if they are just talking to themselves? No one would ever know. So when I'm in the car and I need to vent, I just feel like people are thinking I'm on my Bluetooth, okay? At the agency where I did some of my training, there was a note on the refrigerator that said, "Tell your voices to be quiet. I can't hear mine." So in this lesson, I want you to start listening to your voices and pay attention to what they say. Self-talk is a conversation that we have inside of our head. We may even choose to have it out loud, but self-talk can either calm us or it can make our anger feelings bigger. Some of the self-talk that helps us understand our angry process and helps to place it in a more assertive way are things like this. Self-talk statements for decreasing anger include some of the things like this. The same situation will produce different emotions depending on your self-talk. And you will not get angry if you don't think negative thoughts about the event. So here's some things you can tell yourself, and they will assist you in staying cool and keeping your power. If your anger is covering another feeling, these thoughts will help you clarify that for yourself. These thoughts reduce the strong feeling of shame or blame, and they help you look at things with a little more detachment. Things like, I don't need to be right. I don't need to pretend I am perfect. I can express myself and my emotions and still be loved. I cannot control everything in the world. I can only control myself. Tomorrow, it will not even seem troubling, and I have the right to be wrong, and I have the right to make mistakes. I am feeling angry. it is time for a timeout. Or is it time for a timeout? You can ask yourself. So pay attention to your self-talk. Change the nature of the statements that you tell yourself. Sometimes self-talk is not based on reality. We magnify the negative about the situation and turn them into a big catastrophe. Our self-talk makes things worse, or it can. Some of our self-statements trigger us to continue the anger escalation. Self-talk such as, "That was it," may mean you're done, you're not trying anymore. Notice your immediate self-talk, the statements that may interfere with your ability to stay open-minded and resolve the problem. Self-statements and self-talk can sabotage your success in creating a healthy, happy relationship for yourself. It can assist you in making positive choices for anger expression. So let's talk about control. What is it that you have control over in your life? Control over your children, your spouse, the traffic. Control comes in two dimensions, external and internal. When we have external locus of control, our belief is that our life is controlled from the outside world. Whatever we do has no influence on the outcome. If you have internal locus of control, it means that we have control, or with the belief that we have control over our world, and what we do will make a difference. Locus of control is formed in the first few months of life. If we're given help when we cry and we're in need, we're hungry or we're wet or uncomfortable, then we form the belief that we have an influence on our world and we have the power to get our own needs met. If we cry and we routinely are ignored, we form the belief that no matter what we do, the world is going to do to us whatever it will. If one comes from an abusive family of origin, control may be very important to them. Sometimes being abused means the victim's not even in control of his or her own body. So these abused people become adults. Control may be a primary concern, even though it's not true. They can't control things. They need to feel they're in control. So in review, the only thing we can truly control is ourselves. Control over others is not possible. We can know the other person's triggers and buttons and make him or her happy, sad, mad, glad, or help her or him decide to have those feelings. But when you can realize that you are only in control of yourself, not others or the world, your life and your choices will become much easier. So let's give this section a little rest. So maybe listen to it again. Think about what you have control over. And I will see you in the next section. Step right into this lesson. We're going to talk about what bugs you. What triggers your anger? So knowing the triggers to your anger will help you avoid the events or situations that cause the angry feelings. Does coming home to a mess just get you going? Does traffic make you upset? That is what I'm talking about. Certain things or events or statements irritate, annoy, or downright cause mad. Other things that are triggers for a lot of people include like money issues or indifference to your feelings, sex problems, irresponsibility in others, and drinking problems, alcohol, either you or theirs. Even your self-talk can trigger your angry feelings. Negative self-talk can create a feeling of irritation that leads to anger. For example, you pick up a bag of coffee beans and they spill all over the counter. You can self-talk, "Stupid beans. This is always happening to me. Who put them in this bag?" Or you can self-talk, "Dang, hate it when this happens. Deep breath. Let me see, how can I clean this up the easiest? So make a list of things that bug you. Put every little bug down on the list. Think of it as your repair list. Let it all out. For example, I hate waking up early. I get angry when the toilet paper is gone. I am annoyed when people drive poorly. The milk should never go sour. And please turn off the neighbor's dog at 2 a.m. Then try to avoid these triggers or make a self-talk list to be more positive for these times when they cannot be ignored or avoided. Here's where all of you have learned in the previous lessons will come in handy. Notice your annoyed feelings when they're small, and then let some noise out. And notice what you tell yourself. Now, the neighbor's dog and the bad drivers, they're things that are kind of out of control. However, you can find a way to release an anger appropriately. Don't put that special finger up in traffic. People have weapons now. Talk to the driver out loud or to yourself while you're driving. Tell them how you wish they would go to driving school, or tell yourself how happy you are that you know how to drive well and not put others in danger. We used to live in a city north of here, and when we were on the freeway, we would tell people in the other cars we were going to send them to Los Angeles to learn to drive. So you could do something like that. Find a way to address the dog issue before you're stomping over to the neighbor's house at 2 a.m. with your baseball bat. Here are some ideas for dealing with common triggers, like traffic. If you can't avoid the traffic, then think of it as a time for you to hang out with your favorite tunes. Leave a little early so late is not another irritation. House is a mess? You may need to make a house rule that no one bothers you, no one talks to you, no one does the mom or dad for a half an hour after you get home. You can walk to your room and shut the door and get centered and relaxed a little before you come back to the room and handle all of the family issues that have to be calmed down. Do you get the picture? Pretend now that this is something a little more serious. A guy in your face telling you what a dumb you are. Take a deep breath and breathe out the irritation. Hopefully you had garlic for lunch. Just kidding. Take a good look at him and see if he's really worth what you would lose going off on him or hurting him. What will your anger cost you? Walking away in this case would be a wonderful way to keep your power. How about if your girlfriend or boyfriend finds another love and he or she just happens to be your best friend? That's a toughie. Talk to someone. Talk to someone you trust. I know you trusted them before this. Watch your self-talk and make it positive, especially about yourself. You were attracted to this person for some reason. Perhaps they had an old family dynamic similar to what you used to have. Now you deserve better. The same applies to your best friend. Not only family will fight you for changing and getting healthy, but just like substance abuse recovery, you may need to find new friends. They may need to be healthy like you. Again, it takes a lot of energy to change. Remember, you've been expressing anger in this way pretty much all of your life. So, how long have you been collecting triggers that lead to the anger expression? What is bugging you is a legitimate concern. Finding a way to be proactive about your needs without losing your temper and getting into trouble is the plan. Learning new behaviors is hard work, but it's well worth it. So hang in there. Keep up the good work. Things that bug you or triggers to your anger can seem even more annoying if you're experiencing some depression. One of the symptoms of depression is increased irritability. Depression can happen to anyone. It can be caused by a traumatic event or a change in body chemistry or a sense of deep loss. In one of the classes in this lessons, there is a whole list of depression. There's some natural things that you can use to heal depression if you're just dipping into it. There's an explanation of depression and a checklist. And if you get 5 yeses on that checklist, it's a good idea to contact your primary care. If you get more, then for sure, talk to someone. So remember, how old you are is how many years you've been collecting these triggers and expressing your anger. So when you say to yourself, oh, I did it again, congratulate yourself. That's the first step to change. And when you say to yourself, I'm doing it again, that's the second step. So keep up the good work. Congratulations for embarking on a calmer and healthier you. Change does not happen immediately, so keep progressing and hang in there. Now, this is for you, and we're just stepping through the changes. I will see you in the next step.